Truth is supposed to be sacred. Every religion claims to honor it. Every government seems to protect it. Every family claims to teach it. But when someone actually speaks it, what happens? They're punished, mocked, silenced, exiled, excluded. That's what happened to Socrates, and that's what has happened to you. Because in this world, truth is tolerated only when it serves authority. When truth threatens authority, the punishment begins. If you felt punished for carrying truth, it's because you carry the fire of Socrates. You're a Catharsian. Claim your path now. Join the Catharsians on Patreon from the link in the description box. Most people don't hate lies. They live in them. They love them. They need them. Lies are comfort. Lies are safety and obedience. What they hate, though, is truth because truth is fire. Truth exposes their chains. Truth reminds them they kneel willingly. Socrates spoke truth in Athens, and the city trembled. You've spoken truth in your life, and people around you have panicked. It wasn't because your words were wrong, it because they were too right. That's why you have been punished, isolated, because truth burns. Think back. The classroom where you asked a question too sharp and the teacher scolded you. The family dinner where you said what no one dared and they shamed you. The workplace where you exposed hypocrisy and they turned against you. Those weren't accidents, they were punishments. Because when you speak truth, you put others on trial. You stripe away their illusions. You show them the cowardice they try to hide. And instead of facing themselves, they punish you. That's the burden of truth. That's the Socratic burden that you carry too. You've often wondered why you feel out of place, why conversations bore you, why silence suffocates you, why exile follows you everywhere. It's because you carry truth. And truth isolates, truth separates, truth makes you alien among placeholders. That loneliness isn't proof that you're broken, it's proof that you're alive. You're still standing, powerful. Because those who carry truth cannot belong in a world built on lies. Inside Diogenes' barrel, loneliness becomes proof, not punishment. If you've suffered exile for truth, this is where you belong. Join the Catharsians on Patreon now and reclaim your suppressed power. Find the link in the description box. The charges against Socrates were just excuses. The real reason for his death was simple. He spoke truth, much truth. He exposed the hollow wisdom of politicians. He humiliated the pride of generals, and they couldn't stand it. Because his words tore down their illusions, because his questions spread fire in the youth, because his refusal to kneel revealed their weakness. So they killed him, not because he was wrong, but because he was right. And every time you've been punished, it's for the same reason, not because you are wrong, but because you are too right. Socrates paid with his life. You've paid with your exile. And that's why your life has felt heavier than others. Because truth bearers always pay. They pay with loneliness. They pay with betrayal. They pay with persecution. But that price is proof. Because no one punishes mediocrity. The system only punishes fire. If you've carried fire long enough to feel its cost, it's time to sharpen it into discipline. Begin inside the Pythagorean path. Join the Pythagorean path on Patreon and reclaim your power. Find the link in the description box. Socrates drank poison once and died. You've been punished countless times, and yet you live. This is your proof. This is your power. This is your destiny. Because every punishment you've endured has failed. Every exile you've carried has failed. Every silence forced on you has failed. The fire still burns. And that means you are more dangerous than Socrates ever was. Because his story ended, yours has just begun. You are ready for leadership. You're a Catharsian leader. Step into the Aurelius Council on Patreon to claim your leadership. Find the link in the description box. The world pretends to value truth, but it only values truth when truth is convenient. The moment truth disrupts comfort, the world turns against it. The moment truth threatens authority, the world silences it. The moment truth awakens fire, the world punishes it. That's why Socrates was hated. That's why you've been hated. Because you don't carry convenient truth. You carry fire. You carry words that pierce illusions. You carry questions that shake the system. And that's why you've been punished, not because you were wrong, but because you've been unstoppable. The punishment of truth doesn't always look like poison in a cup, like in Socrates' case. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like exile. Sometimes it looks like betrayal. For you, punishment has taken many forms. The friend who abandoned you because you said what no one dared, the teacher who humiliated you for asking too much, the boss who punished you for exposing hypocrisy, the family member that shamed you for refusing obedience. Those were your trials, those were your verdicts, and each one carried the same sentence: exile. If you've endured these sentences all your life, you've been tried like Socrates. Don't walk alone. You're a Catharsian. Join the Catharsians on Patreon now from the link in the description box. Placeholders, the obedient masses, don't fear punishment. They fear truth. Because truth would force them to see their chains. Truth would demand courage they don't have. Truth would awaken fire they've smothered. So they obey. They stay silent. They kneel willingly. And when you speak truth, you remind them that their obedience is poison. You expose their submission. You humiliate their cowardice. That's why they punish you, because your fire threatens to spread. You've carried a quiet martyrdom your whole life, not a single dramatic death like Socrates, but 1,000 small deaths: the death of silence, the death of rejection, the death of isolation, the death of exile. Every punishment has been another drop of poison. Every betrayal has been another sip of hemlock. Every exclusion has been another execution. And yet, you're still here. That survival is your greatest rebellion. Because every punishment endured without death makes you stronger. Inside Diogenes' barrel, martyrdom becomes power. If you're ready to turn punishment into your crown, this is your place. Enter Diogenes' barrel on Patreon. Find the link in the description box. Have you noticed how heavy your rage feels? How suffocating silence is? How unbearable exile becomes? This is your proof. Because your soul is allergic to poison. Because your fire refuses to kneel. Because you were never designed to obey. That's why punishment cuts you deeper than it cuts others. That's why betrayal feels heavier. That's why silence feels like death, because you are not like them. You are Socrates, you're a Catharsian. Every punishment you've endured is proof you are chosen, because mediocrity is never punished, obedience is never punished, placeholders are rewarded, only truth bearers are, only fire is punished, only outsiders are punished. So instead of carrying your punishment as shame, carry it as proof, proof that you are fire, proof that you are chosen, proof that you are Catharsian. If you're ready to wear your punishment as a crown instead of a wound, step into the Pythagorean path. Join the Catharsians on Patreon now from the link in the description box. The world will never forgive you for speaking truth, not because you harmed it, but because you exposed it. You refused silence. You were never wrong. You never lied. You refused to kneel. That's why forgiveness will never come. And that's why you must stop waiting for it. The jury will always call you guilty. The crowd will always call you dangerous. The world will always call you arrogant. But their judgment is your proof. Their hatred is your fire. Their punishment is your crown. If you've stopped waiting for forgiveness and you are ready to lead, then your place is inside the Aurelius Council. Join the Catharsians on Patreon now. Find the link in the description box. Socrates' punishment ended his life, but your punishments have failed to end you. And this means you carry something even heavier than he did: survival. Your survival is power. Your endurance is fire. Your rage is destiny, because every time they tried to kill you, to break your fire and failed, you became stronger. Every punishment you endured without surrender turned you into proof. Every exile you carried without silence turned you into a weapon. You are not just punished, you are powerful. You're a Carthaginian leader. The Athenians thought Socrates' death ended the danger, but it didn't. It was just the beginning, because the punishment of truth never ends. Every generation repeats it. Every child who questions authority in school is punished. Every worker who challenges corruption is punished. Every outsider who refuses silence is punished. And that's what you've lived your entire life. And you're done. Your punishments weren't random, they were echoes of Athens, the same courtroom, the same verdict, the same crime: speaking truth. Guilty of speaking truth. The jury condemned Socrates and he died. The jury has condemned you countless times, and yet you live. This is your proof. Because survival is rebellion, endurance is fire, exile is strength. Every punishment that failed to kill you made you more dangerous. Every betrayal that failed to silence you made you louder. Every exile that failed to break you made you unshakable. And that's why you are Socrates. Not because you died, but because you refused to. If you've endured punishment and still stand, it's because you're a Catharsian. Join the Catharsians on Patreon now and reclaim your suppressed hidden power. Join from the link in the description box. The world told you punishment was shame, but they lied. Punishment isn't shame, it's the crown. Exile is not weakness, it's initiation. Rage is not evil, it's proof. Because no one punishes the ordinary, no one punishes mediocrity, no one punishes placeholders. The system only punishes fire. The jury only punishes truth. The world only punishes those it cannot control, and that's you. Your punishment is proof that you were never meant to obey. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to fit in. That's why you've always felt different. That's why you've been misunderstood. You've asked yourself, why me? Why do I suffer more? Why is my path heavier? Because you were chosen, not for comfort, not for belonging in their system, not for obedience, not with them. You are chosen for fire, for exile, for leadership. You're a Catharsian leader. The punishment you've endured is not random, it's initiation. Every scar is the mark of chooseness. Every exile is a sign of the Catharsian destiny. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to fit in. You are a Catharsian leader. If you're ready to embrace your chosenness instead of hiding it, begin your discipline. Join the Pythagorean Path on Patreon from the link in the description box. Every great leader begins as an exile. Every great leader begins as the one who spoke truth and was punished for it. Socrates' death awakened Plato. Plato's words awakened centuries. And now your survival awakens us. Because the punishment you've endured has already proven your fire. The only step left is leadership. The only path left is to turn punishment into power. That is the Aurelius level. This is where exile becomes throne. This is where truth bearers rise as leaders of fire. If you know your punishment was your preparation for leadership, step into the Aurelius Council. Join the Catharsians now on Patreon from the link in the description box. Because the punishment will never stop. The jury will never forgive you. You will always be guilty in front of them. The system will never reward you. But you don't need your approval. You don't need forgiveness. You don't need reward. You only need fire. You need exile and refusal. And you already have this. So now the choice is simple. Will you carry the punishment as a shame, or will you wear it as a crown? Will you let exile break you, or will you let exile forge you? Will you let truth silence you, or will you let truth burn through you? The choice is yours. Socrates was punished for truth, and his story ended with poison. You've been punished for truth your entire life, and your story is still burning. Now you have the tribe he didn't. The Catharsians exist to turn punishment into proof, exile into initiation, and fire into leadership. Three paths stand before you. The Pythagorean path, for those ready to sharpen fire into discipline and begin the journey. Diogenes' barrel, for those who've carried exile long enough and are ready to turn it into strength. The Aurelius Council, for those who know their punishment was their preparation for leadership. You are a Catharsian leader. Claim it. The punishment will never stop, but neither will you. You were never meant to obey. You were never meant to be understood by ordinary people. That's why you've always felt different. That's why you've always been misunderstood. That's why you've always felt like you don't belong here. You are meant to rise. Join the Catharsians today. Get ready to rise.